Yes, well, I think I really must do an update. Because I took a peek and it looks like, if I'm reading this right, that the whole dang team has come to guess between my last update and now, when I'd kind of really like to start going to bed. But the mystery is OMNITRIX, and yes, we are playing Hot and Cold Guessing Game with me, your host, Tommy Walker. And on the side, I am an author of the book that you see. And I'm really quite proud of the book, though I don't know if you should read it. I just don't know. You'd have to make that call yourself. Let's see what we've got. Just 'cause it's a joke doesn't mean I'm kidding. Guessing Game 106. Participation in the last 30 minutes. I peeked at 2 sets of guesses, and now I'm seeing 4 new messages. And what in the world could this mean? No, okay, well, I guess I'd seen 2 of them before. I remember Poltergeist, and the barista who chose the mystery said, "Oh yes, Ghost is actually quite close." He's aware that Ghost was guessed. Oh yeah, there's actually is a character that this guy transformed into that is kind of a ghost, but really more of a poltergeist. And yes, good reason to have the flashbacks to Guessing Game 80, which was the mystery Goober, as in Goober and the Ghost Chasers, which was a cartoon of chasing ghosts, about chasing ghosts. So yes, you're having flashbacks to the right mystery. And I don't know how to comment on it. I feel like I should say something, but I certainly don't want to say too much. Imagination and necromancy. Well, certainly a full regulation batch that I have ahead of me. And I do believe that Poltergeist is going to be groundbreaking in this mystery. And if I see something that looks groundbreaking, I might deal with it sooner than I might otherwise have dealt. Poltergeist and Feast are by Miss Markey. Don't know quite why Feast would be the thing. It might be current in her life personally right now. Somehow, I don't know what we are celebrating, for what reason we might overeat. Poltergeist and Feast. Victim and Voodoo. A V-trip. That Gray Flank is on. Gosh, I haven't seen Gray Flank do his alphabetical thing. When he's kind of scratching his head over what to guess, he'll sometimes just make himself do something that starts with the letter A. It starts with somewhere in the middle of an alphabet, or towards the end in this case. Doesn't know quite where to go. Let's just try stuff. And let me see now. We want to go back here. Undead and Frankenstein. Yeah, I think that's kind of a good way to go. Getting more heavily into the vibes. The Frankenstein was a key champ at one stage for Goober and the Ghost Chasers. So, at what point do the mysteries seriously diverge? Undead and Frankenstein. I don't think we're going to get quite that confirmation for zombie, because zombie is the modern word. Undead is older, and this is kid stuff that we're dealing with here. It's not about the zombies, but in that milieu of kid stuff. It's really more to the point. I think we're going to find out anyhow. Okay, imagination, necromancy. I actually did look up the mystery Goober and saw that necromancer had been guessed in Goober. As far as I could tell in the time I gave it, necromancy itself had not been guessed. But yes, there's a lot of commonality. It doesn't escape me. Our pathway is through a cartoon, same as in Goober and the Ghost Chasers. And even right down to the idea of ghosts as being an element of the cartoon. We've got that going on. There is in fact a heck of a lot of commonality between them. So why doesn't someone guess cartoon? Why doesn't someone guess a specific cartoon? For how eerily similar the mysteries do appear to be at this point. So there are all 8 of these are fresh guesses. Takes us to the cusp, the verge of 60, 59. Well, we're going to be dealing with shiny numbers for quite some time. But we have to go off book at some point. What am I trying to say? Is it off book, off road? We have to open our books. We have to crack open our books on book. Because no one has heard of it. And let me see now. OMNITRIX. Though maybe Graveflank. Maybe there's an outside chance Graveflank's actually familiar somewhat. This is kind of in his alley. We've been in Graveflank's alley for a long time, actually. The baristas. Both of my baristas are kind of, or I don't know. Maybe it's my fault too, because I went a bit to my own soul in the previous mystery. Although Graveflank claims not to be that big on Pink Floyd, even though he had familiarity with the famous pudding line. Okay, so like that and like that and all right, imagination. So why does Francis go this way? Makes the observation, maybe just on general principle, that Monstrous Walker would never give us 2 mysteries this similar to each other, especially this close together. Mystery guess game number 80 is only 26 ago at this point. She's getting flashbacks from a mystery that's only 26 ago. Surely he wouldn't repeat himself. Maybe that is what's driving a strange choice like imagination that would not have advanced us in the game she's having a flashback to. 17.7 million. But, well, the basic idea is that, well, actually Goober was very much influenced by a person I was hanging out with at work. And so this is another person on the street choice. It's taken me... Actually, I didn't have any idea that Goober was going to trace to a cartoon. I'm thinking of like a piece of snot in a drinking glass as a Goober. And then we ended up going to ended up being that the most dominant goober apparently on the web was the goober as in Goober and the Ghost Chasers. Or at least given the initial pathway we took, there might have been another path that could have been just as strong if we had just found it. So then we, necromancy is our next guess. Necromancer, necromancy. I don't think we're really dealing in death, though. I think we've had subtle downticks in scores as our supernatural beings have gone more towards death. And that isn't that quite horrible? 0.02, pretty horrible. Poltergeist. Now this is supposed to be the big one. So half big and half not, apparently. Let's see how this goes. And poltergeist was an actual word out of my barista's mouth talking about the mystery. 5.17 million. What do we have? No. 152? No, I'm not getting excited about 152 at all. No. Well, can we explain this one? Oh, my Lord. And I'm seeing lots of dots separating the Omnitrix from poltergeist. Well, probably doesn't have a whole lot of relationship to the movie. Not really in the same genre as the movie, not in the same network, not on the Cartoon Network. They've all got dots between them. Oh, I need to huddle with my barista now. I suppose that poltergeist is mostly dominant as a movie title. No, that doesn't really go anywhere. Feast. Of course, everything is eventually a movie title. You know, fool knows what a feast means. Why are you searching the word feast on the deeper web? You must be seeking this movie from 2005. 8.37 million. 216. Victim. I don't think so. 18.2 mil. And what? Really? 821. Well, the attempt was made to go harder into ghostness, and it didn't work. Voodoo. Well, kind of, maybe. Just how much of voodoo is outside of Haiti? 4.96 million. Spell casting, I think, maybe, if I understand it right. 142. Not really. Undead. Probably good, but a bit behind. $3.48 million. $1.15 quite good, but I've seen better, I feel. Now, Frankenstein was huge in Goober, the one that Francis is being reminded of. Let's see if we do it again. 3.62 million. $1.97 quite good. Okay. That might be the latest member of the qualified best. Well, how do you feel now about your hot flashes? Are they getting hotter? I think they are. Okay. Actually, it's consistent with the guessing game 80 that trying to go inside of Ghost, within Ghost, also failed in Goober and the Ghost Chasers. Well, there, Ghost is part of the title, part of the title that shortens to Goober ultimately. But it didn't have that much power outside of the title. Once again, G largest. Presumably that's what I've done. We have a new second placer. The historic monsters with specific names. They certainly go together. Certainly peas and carrots, right? Frankenstein and Dracula. It has more. Well, Dracula never won anything, though. So will Frankenstein win anything? D. Way down to 13th. And this is a game where there's some potential in traditionals to take traditionals higher with related words rather than just bully words. But we haven't seen that in a while. Oh my goodness. Way down in hits. I think there's no broad categories to be pursued right now. Various hitting the various monsters. We should definitely be visiting, we should definitely be visiting cartoons. I mean, will we even get to the idea of a cartoon faster in this game? With the knowledge of what we're being reminded of, shouldn't we at least get something basic like cartoon faster than we did in Goober and the Ghost Chasers? Actually, I'm kind of remembering that as a theme that, well, maybe we're guessing cartoon titles. Yes, there was that. We were guessing cartoon titles before cartoon was ever guessed. And it shook the guessers because we had all these titles All these cartoon titles that were doing extremely well. Yet when the cartoon itself was guessed, it only did mildly well. What in the world? What in the world could that mean? You know, Goober, the endpoint Goober, was much more broadly applicable than is merely its life in the title of a particular cartoon from way back when. So sure, it was a cartoon. The word cartoon did not do well. And so the cartoon was finally guessed at a very late stage in the game. And it really threw us. It was hard to recover from, in fact. After guessing a bunch of cartoons, to finally actually guess the word cartoon and have it not do that well. So what am I doing? I have all these things ordered. It's time to go to AP, what? Largest. Is this even a loss? I think this is a loss. Yeah, look at it. Well, there's two very nice ones by the same person who gave us these wonderful guesses. Frankenstein Undead. Imagination kind of does go somewhere, but the others, which may be kind of surprising, but the others really don't. Okay. I would say that they mostly don't go anywhere. A loss in diffs, as we call them. I think we're going to have more negatives than positives. So let me see, where are we? Percentages, second to 52nd. It's the range of these things. 5 of them in the bottom 15, 59 guesses. Well, trying to break out, trying to, I guess, figure out the another vector. Perfectly honorable, at least with a word like victim. Certainly feast. I don't know that that has a toe in anything we've done to this point. A toenail. Intersecting toenail. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Copy. Are there? So is Woody. Woody gave us our best in percentage. Zombie clarification. Familiar stuff. Oh my, there. Wow. Hoo 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 hoo. Monster. I'd have a lot of good ideas. Oh, I think I'm seeing a Cyclops. Is that a Cyclops? Or is it only one eye? It's a Cyclops? What happens if it's 3 eyes? No, I think that's a monster. Or that's nose too close to the eyes. That's something to be feared. Oh, something to be feared. Did I see this in the corner of my eye? What's making me say such things? Monster and Fierce is Jules W. This is a scoop. And yes, this means I have to throw all my work back because I have a new guess, and I'd rather go to print only once than twice. So all that work of scooping up the rankings is lost, and I'm happy to lose it because I think this is, especially because I think this is something to help us along. Monster and Fear. And it could well be that the broad term fear could do better than, the broad term monster could very well do better than any specific monster. That would certainly be instructive if it does play out that way. All right, so two new guesses, and over the 60 guess hump, and we are allowed to presume no change in mystery hits. Monster. Okay, monster is the guess. Let's do it. Oh, but you know what? I have to reload OMNITRIX because it's on the board. I can choose it from my menu, and well, there I am looking at the word anyways. But I have to copy this because I had something else loaded. Monster. I feel like that's a strong guess. Monstrous, the Autobiography. Oh, that's interesting. Interesting thing to autofill when I cite the first few letters of monster. 100,000 million, 63.6 million. Big old word. 100,000 million, 63.6 million. But I just don't know how closely related we really should be here. 24.5, that's up there. Yeah, that is up there. And what do we get for fear? Well, certainly in the shows that OMNITRIX hangs out with, I really don't know about OMNITRIX itself. 42 million. I'm curious. 5.15 thousand. Not that big a deal. But Monster looks like a champ to me. Very nice reason to hold out. 93,000. I don't think there's anything all that close. I don't think so. I think we've got the Jules has done a Jules special, an overall #1. She's the all-time leader in overall #1s by a pretty ridiculously large margin. So nice piece of guessing. Be kind of nice to see her at the finish line, as well as seeing her in a list building stage, which is every other point except the solve. Being a list builder. So we rework this, and what happens? Monster shows up above. Well, except for zombie. Well, except for a few things. The broad term is, even in percentages, ahead of some of the specific terms. 61 guesses. Oh, this kind of makes you want to have a celebratory glass of orange juice for being extended. Particularly if I can kind of justify that this is my first phase of breakfast. I'm going to have my first phase of breakfast, folks. A little glass of orange juice. This station break has been brought to you by pulp-free Simply Orange. And that's what it is. It's just simply orange juice. What could be better? And yes, well, and it's all tall glass. Tall. I said small. I lied. And so, you please go away. Thank you. Bearings is always a little bit of an issue at this point. D largest, that's what we're dealing with. Reordering. Oh yeah, I mean, look at this. Check this out. 93,000. It's very tight, actually. 50,000s, 40s, 30, 20. Not this distribution I would look at, but that's a spike. 55,000, 92,000 is a serious spike. So we're going to be doing overall fullsies. And kind of contemplating what kind of depth do I need to bring to this. I guess I'll do extras if they can frame something better than something else might. Doodle-doo. And now, what was it? Frankenstein? I think Frankenstein just got completely overshadowed. I guess it still has its trumps, doesn't it? Frankenstein is still the better percentage scorer. So there could conceivably be categories that belong to Frankenstein more than Monster. We'll have to see about that. It would be interesting if Frankenstein was a champ in something mid-round and then lost out to Monster in the end. The long slog of differentials. Something that I don't always have time for, but I would say that today I do. It's quite possible I am currently being influenced by consuming a bit of a double the caffeine drink. It was like called XX Espresso. So, oh, that's XX means 2 times, doesn't it? It means double normal. I think I was in the count, was in line, having committed to. See, Monster is not a world beater at all things. They could be, Monster and Frankenstein could well be sharing could be splitting first place, taking turns leading in various measures. So let's go back to AP. We now have 10. Oh, you know what? Fear went further below than Monster went up. And look at the 4 consecutive, this is eye-popping. 4 consecutive negative 11s and 5 consecutive absolute value 11s. Isn't that something? You kind of want to call attention to a thing like that. Necromancy, imagination. So it's still a losing round in diffs. Jules did not overcome that trend. I guess I would have predicted it for 3 of them. I have certainly reservations. Feast, Victim, definitely. Voodoo, I was dubious at least about. And of course, I was very, very wrong about Poltergeist. Then I got fed bad information. Or maybe it's just, movie title. There's not a lot of crossover to the Cartoon Network. Especially when we're dealing with something that's so far within the Cartoon Network. It's not. It's below the level of titles. That might be what's doing it. Why a movie title does not connect. I would love to say something about this. We generally don't deal in numbers anymore, though. Okay. So one more time. There's the 10 of the current batch. So back to the old drawing board. G largest. There we go. We're up to 61 guesses, right? Yeah, that's right. Copy. And, well, let's see what happens now. About to go to print. Is anyone else going to surprise me? At this point, well, no, did I hear from Miss Markey? Who have I not heard from? Of the hardcore 6. Traditionals. With 5 sets of guesses, there's only one person I haven't heard from for this round. Okay, the same set being ordered by Traditionals. We have the lovely new number 1. And it was a sad sight before this happened. Look at that. 14th had been the previous high of the batch. A really sad state. And I suppose that this kind of masks a not very good round in Traditionals. Then the question is, well, how progressive is it to guess monster after you guessed a bunch of monsters? It is something to see that you go higher with the general than with the specific. I think it's something to move you off of monsters, really. After all that trouble guessing monsters, you go higher with the general monster than the specific one. So what then is off to the side of the monster category? Not within it. Okay, here we're going to do, definitely need AP smallest, because we're going to be in the business of breaking ties. And da-da-da, da-da-da. Guess numbers with the negative 4s. 54, 55, 56, 57. That's something. 4 consecutive guesses with the same figure. And 58 in the series is icing. The absolute value, the positive 11 to go with the negative 11s. 6017, and then all these are the same. They're all 53rd. 4-way tie for 53rd. The assumption when you see such things is that the underlying number is 0. You're going to have 4-way ties and differentials. But to finish 53rd, a 4-way tie for 53rd and a game that's only 61 long, those aren't zeros we're talking about, kids. So, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Copy. And there they are. Bop, bop, bop. 61 guesses. Which means we do top sixes. That's what's considered an elite now, top sixes. We have somebody who did that. We had Frankenstein doing that in percentages. Traditionals, there it is. We have Frankenstein doing it in differentials. We can look for ties in to see if Undead might be in with the help of a tie. But traditionals we're going to save for later. We're going to save that one for its own post for the fullsies. So anyways, here come the percentage 6. I'm curious how closely this game follows along with Goober, and have a bit in my mind to study the matter. Look at the old game, see what guesses they have in common, how well they did from that mystery to this one. G is largest. Okay, here's the so then we need, there's our search friendly quotes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good old Frankenstein. Ah, yes, well. And then the traditional, never mind the traditional, differential 6 until we're told otherwise with regard to ties. You know what, though? Here we are doing percentages. It's currently ordered by percentage. And I want to look up extras. So preliminary to that, AX needs to be worked out. Okay. So then it's on to what? It's on to the differential. AP smallest, AK largest, BQ is where we get to record our findings. A little bit of flex there, Frankenstein in third. There's a block for you. We already knew about that. 4 in a row at the same level. Do we have a tie? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That would be the magic point. Is there a tie in diffs at that level? No. So then, trick or treat. It's holding well, isn't it? Early guess number 5. That's one way to get us on the right track quickly. Who do these guesses belong to? Number of different players. N, U, E, or I, X. Copy. So, 7th is outside of it. Ghost Town Undead actually works out to 8th, the way it falls. So just the one And the same one as before. Frankenstein went high in differentials. It is at this point that I like to indulge in the qualified bests. See what we have there. We need to find out our largest in shares. And we would like to also, Juice has 3 out of 5. Not bad, not bad. She does hit shares harder than the next person. That's a lot of what you got to do if you want to blow everyone out in traditional overall scores, because they're definitely biased towards shares. So now that we have all these ordered, we want to go through the list and find the upticks. Now this is quite extraordinary. This 0.38 for Monster here. Okay, Story is the champ. Movie did not represent an uptick. Then there's Monster. So everyone ahead of... So that means Halloween has been knocked out by Monster. Halloween used to be the biggest percenter in its share zone, and Monster beats it both directions, in both in shares and percentage. So Monster knocked out Halloween. It also knocked out Ghost. Halloween and Ghost are knocked out, and then we get the familiar territory of Zombie. But it took out 2 of them. And let's see what else we have here. 46 was Zombie. And remember Nightmare from last round. And nothing is in sight from here. 52 Dracula is an oldie. 54 Frankenstein right on its heels. So Frankenstein follows Dracula. And then it's off to Haunted House. Okie dokie. Haunted House holding very well. So, anyways, Frankenstein after Dracula, and Monster knocking out 2. Monster knocking out Halloween and Ghost. Yes, indeedy. And will we be able to recall all that when it's time to finally print it? Qualified best. There's the most recent one. Copy. Bada boom. It's not really how bottom boom works. Scroll to the bottom here. We ought to be in the correct place. So it went Dracula, Frankenstein, peas and carrots, and then Halloween and Ghost, both knocked out. Cut. I think it's a big deal to knock out 2, though we did have the Wrecking Ball early. A very early stage Wrecking Ball, which is to knock out at least 3 guesses on your way in. For all this energy on Ghost to have it transcended, that might be kind of a blow. And have it be transcended by the general term. So percentage 6, differential 6. Okay, Story Well, the story is that Monster went in, and zombie is a thing from last round. He gets to go back in a lowercase. So 2 in and 2 out. Frankenstein enters peacefully. Monster takes out 2 on its way in, and still 6 long. The qualified best is a list that is still 6 guesses long. Story: Monster, Zombie, Dracula, Frankenstein, Haunted House. Okay. Where is the growth? Jules is kind of finding it. Jules is finding where to go. Everyone else is like rattling within the categories. Jules is going off to the side a bit. List building. And so, from here, what do we do? I think the next thing we do is with both these categories, both A, W, and AX filled out, that opens us up to fill in a Y and a Z. And the next thing we need to seek is the list in overall scores. As we see what we can see what's going to be worth commenting on. If there will be more than the obvious to comment on. See, I don't know at this point if Frankenstein leads in anything. Maybe that's what the biggest issue here is. We know that Monster leads in something. Let's see, BB, I think would be a good way to go. It doesn't even matter from that point if you'd say it's the smallest or largest, for my purposes. Okay. BQ is already figured out, so we can fill in this vast block. The vastest I have on offer in my spreadsheet. Oh, this should really be extended much further, don't you think? 60 to at least 65. That's what the true bottom is, right? Necromancy. And then what? Artist BZ. Sounds like a beautiful day for a new champ. So is it? No. Story and Monster, well, it pulls into a tie. Does not actually beat Story, though. I guess that would have been Halloween there that just fell from Grace all the way down to third. Will Frankenstein go home with some hardware? Let's see now. So from here, what we want to do, you know what? I don't have my overalls fattened. What I'm going to do first is thin everybody out. Sort AP largest. the Big 10. Goodness, that's strange. That should be 10. Okay. A little something I do to make certain guesses stand out from each other, stand out in a crowd a little bit better. And now we're going to look to see how the various guesses did in my extra measures, which I'm slowly unveiling. AY smallest, Monster is champ. And I would like to show Monster in more than just the one category. Is it a soul leader in AY? It certainly feels like a big deal, and it should be. It is. It is by 2 in first place. And who are the names attached to these? Is there a level of dominance that needs to get recognized? Not yet. Okay. Individual guesser dominance. Okay, let's see where we are now. AY, here comes AZ. Yes, indeed. Ready to progress. It looks like the same list, essentially. Monster and zombie, the general term. Once again, beating anything specific. BC, smallest. Story still holding. Story monster movie. Monster story, monster movie? Halloween and Christmas holidays. Oh, what are we looking at here? BC smallest. Okay. The only thing about BC is that they're only considered elites at the 1 in 20 level rather than the 1 in 10, because only half of guesses will qualify under one relativity measure or another. So 61 guesses, we consider these elites to be only 3D, story, monster, and movie. And none of those frame the new one, monster, in a better way than it's framed elsewhere. So Halloween and Christmas are not considered elites, but it certainly is interesting to see them back to back. Like holidayness is about as important as scariness. But that's telling me. And it'd be a good thing for anyone to have the chance to observe, but I won't be publishing these elites at this time. BC largest, also 3D, the champs. Frankenstein, not actually framed better this way than others. Perhaps BS, which, is not a BS category. This is differential relativity. We make an elite of Frankenstein, but once again, it's better showcased by other things. Maybe BT will be our champ. Could this be the way it goes? Is BT the best it's going to get? How does Hal Still's holding him off? What could it lead in? Can Frankenstein lead in something? How about BU? No, same issue. Maybe when we bring in the traditionals to do it, will that put him over the top? No. At that point, Frankenstein is hardly an elite at all. Does it happen at the BX level? No, it's even a worse situation. There aren't even any elites at all here. We go all the way to 8th place to find something. BZ was almost a scoop. Let's refresh ourselves on the issue. Monster is champ, or it's actually tied for champ. If I were to do this by earliest guess number first, it actually loses a story. It's the only elite in the crowd. I haven't seen Frankenstein yet. So CC is weird. Differentials get weird. Or differential in combination with differentials. Nightmare doing it. Nightmare Zombie Frankenstein. Nightmare. Is that truly on its own in first place? CC. It is. I don't think Nightmare has ever been credited as being in first place in anything. So that could be something to mention. And then CE, what do we have then? Zombie Frankenstein. So I could never get one for Frankenstein. I could never get anything that framed Frankenstein better than second place. So it's very much like Dracula in that sense. Dracula had also debuted in second in a bunch of things, and without me being able to find it scoring first in anything. The one Peas and Carrots with has the same problem. So 61 guesses. They are both in the best. Frankenstein is loved a bit more by the traditional big three, or certainly the two that are showing right now. Gravelink into the Fs, the Vs, excuse me. Why I said that, who knows? Nothing that really has to be said for as far as spellings, alternative ways of spelling, spaces or not to space, that sort of thing. I kind of want to address Francis somehow. Frankenstein did not quite clear anything. Monster, wonderful. We are at 2. Where are we? We are at 2 exclamation points. You know, this is going to be a word. This would be a 2. If we erase ourselves in percentages, I'd be going for 3. But that's not happening right now. We're going to go with 2 in a nice big 3 category, equal to where we've been before. Very progressive without Poltergeist actually going high as planned. Flashback to Guessing Game 80. Yes, indeed. Francis does not actually do the advancing here. The person having the flashback is not guessing the same stuff that went high in 80. Francis won this one, by the way. Francis was the solver in Goober. Let's see now. And she may also have had a flashback to a game that lasts over 500 guesses, because we apparently didn't approach it right in some way. Therefore, she is approaching it differently. Now, that's a theory. Okay. There's a bonus score for Goober. Halloween and Ghosts. Monster. Incorporated? Monster Incorporated. No. No, no, no. Friendly monsters, friendly ghosts. Halloween is such a fun holiday. Yeah, maybe it's about the funness about it. It's not the death, it's the funness. And I think that's really true. The stuff that kids love. The stuff that's the most fun. That's really what Halloween means. And this is really this would be the second straight time, flashing back to number 80, that the guessers have gone to scariness before funness. And so Halloween goes monster, monster, monster. Monsters don't transcend. They don't just knock out. What is suggested? Wittgenstein. How many times was it peas and carrots with Dracula? In percentages it is. I don't know. We need something. Give or take. Monster, last minute guess. Give or take. Nice knowing. Halloween and Ghost. And isn't it true that those were the back-to-backers of Miss Markey? Halloween and Ghost. One way to determine this would be AP smallest. Halloween and Ghost. There they are, Halloween and Ghost. They are back-to-backers. And are they Miss Markies? 16 and 17 by Miss Markey. Oh, nice knowing you. Nice knowing you, the Miss Markey pair. Halloween and Ghost. uh, do we say such things? 4-way tie. Four-way tie in dis. Four-way tie. Four straight guesses. And they are the only -11s, if you want to get right down to it, right? We do AK. Actually, might as well do AK large as usual. There's no fifth guess at -11, is there? One, two, three, four. Actually, there is. Winston Churchill is also part of the -11 club. Four straight guesses in a in a four-way batch tie. That may be clarifying. In a four-way batch tie in diffs. Plus a fifth followed by a fifth. That finished as far above zero as the other four finished below it. As each of the other four finished below it. One way to put it. So there's how I express the cool thing. Oh, peas and carrots. I guess that's a verb. The needs dashes, giving it a verb form. Guess again glossary term has just become a verb. Look like peas and carrots with Dracula. In fact, do I even need space like that? No, okay, they accept it. You don't yell at me for spelling on that. Monstrous, last minute guess, give or take. Knowing is very bare. How are it goes? I look like peas and carrots with Dracula. Four stray guesses, four-way batch time diffs, followed by a fifth that finished far above zero. As each of the followed by a fifth that finished as far above zero as each of the other four finished below it. Semi-coherent. If you work hard, you can maybe figure that one out. And then something about Francis is having hot flashes. Hot flashes. A flashback. What does hot mean? Is that quite right? I don't want to like poo-poo in this, but I don't know. I don't want to say, oh yeah, you're right. Flashback. Isn't it? Okay. that finished with the absolute fallacy. Oh, peas and carrots, number 80. I cannot get close to it. I cannot get close to the nature of Francis's statement. Let's keep the immediacy in this sentence, followed by a fifth that finishes as far above zero as each of the other four finish below it. Of course, as her guesses go, that might be the right way to put it. Imagination did very well, but what did she even try next? Necromancy definitely did not. It's certainly in the I certainly have a right to refer to the necromancy guests in particular disparagingly, and we can make that interpretation of what I mean. Okay. And hot flashing, sometimes you do well and sometimes you don't. Imagination was definitely the better scorer. You can imagine that that's what I mean. I just cannot address Goober specifically and how incredibly right Francis is about how similar this game actually in fact is, not just appears to be, but in fact is to Goober when the pathway was through the cartoon Goober and the Ghost Chasers. And I need to, before we close out here, I need to post the traditional overall fullsies. Percentage 6, differential 6, Frankenstein's got that one, Monster and Frankenstein there. One hopes there are no new guesses because at this point Betty Bye is pretty appealing. And what else might there be to glean from this as we go back and forth and back and forth? I think I covered everything that needs to be covered. So we're going to fire up traditionals. Looks like I've got something already fired up. AP smallest, followed by D. That's where we get to the heart of the matter. Oh, I did want to recognize Monster for I did want to. You know what? Here we go. They know that as part of the cycle, I think I need to produce Newfangled first. I need to edit this post for Newfangled. AY, AY smallest. That I'm going to do this one more time here. AP, bada boom. Now, AY, smallest. We're going to go 6 deep. AY, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's just the one guest that made it. Frankenstein's way down there. Legend of Nightmare, Ghost, Halloween, Zombie, Monster. If you never won in more than one thing, I like to recognize you for it. Percentages, traditionals, differentials. We have percentage 6, differential 6. Newfangled 6. Monster. Go. Listen. Okay. And now, you'd hate for things to sneak in. Now I'm ready to do the traditionals. AP, after all that, what I really want is AP smallest. Do this properly for the breaking of ties. D, largest. Monster on top. Search friendly quotes. Copy. Oh, I just can't. I can't bear. I gotta look. Okay. Where's that? Traditional overall full Z's. Monster Story. Zombie Halloween movie. Ghost Nightmare Legend. Witch Christmas Joker. So Christmas is up there. Both Halloweens are up there. Joker Halloween, Demon Frankenstein, Vampire Horror Costume, Rainbow Imagination, Demon Drac, Joker, Christmas, Witch Legend, Nightmare, Ghost Movie, Halloween Zombie, or Monster. Okay. And here we go. Boom. The only thing about that, about the previous update being edited to show, is that I didn't show it with the symbols that I normally use. Newfangled was added in after the post proper, so it gets this certain kind of brackets. It's this type of bracket. So now we're as legit, as proper as we can make this look, following my many developed conventions over about 8 years, I think now. But so we've gone through this. Now we're just indulging latent obsessive compulsiveness to look at this any longer. That's very frightening, Jules. Very, very frightening. And so bada boom, and so bada beam, and as a fellow gets to sleep, I'm actually getting to bed about the same time as last night. True, just like Monstrous is true. Monstrous by Tommy Walker, whom I'm on very good terms with. And I am going to see you later.